United. That's 1-800-561-6997.
Welcome back to Outnumbered. New developments on the Obamacare architect who was caught on video admitting the White House preyed on the, quote, stupidity of the American voter to get the health care law passed. First, MIT professor Jonathan Gruber making an apology of sorts. Listen.
The comment and the video were made at an academic conference. I was speaking off the cuff, and I basically spoke inappropriately, and I regret having made those comments.
But now a second video emerging of Gruber showing this wasn't simply a slip of the tongue.
We said, well, that's pretty much the same thing. But why does it matter? I said, you'll see. And they were both in that past. Because the American voter is too stupid to understand the difference.
Syndicated columnist Charles Krauthammer had a little something to say about that. He says Gruber's comments prove what conservatives have been saying about liberals all along. Listen.
What we're hearing now is the true voice of liberal arrogance. They believe this. They believe that the voters are stupid, as he said. And they believe that they know the right way. They have to lead the masses to the promised land, and they can only do it by deception.
Rachel, it's tough to hear. I mean, do you agree with Charles?
I totally agree. I mean, this totally exposed. I mean, conservatives have been saying this about liberals and their big centralized government idea of how things should be run for a long time. And now finally we have it on tape. And I'm wondering, where is the mainstream media? Because they're kind of complicit in this. I mean, the American people were kind of onto it, not that stupid, onto it from the get-go, voted them out in 2010, then again this time, based on what they thought was a bad policy. Where is the media, and where are the Jon Stewarts who, if they had this kind of video on a Republican, what would they be doing with it?
What do you think, Charlie? Do you think
people are stupid too?
Yeah.
Well, I would say this. I think there are two issues here. I mean, this underscores, as Krauthammer said, the sort of contempt that elitist liberalism has for working class America. They think you know people that work with their hands and work for a living are stupid, and it's always been a contempt. That's why so many working class people rebelled against him in this election. But it also shows one other thing. You know, what he was so misplaced about is the American people aren't stupid. The media was stupid when it comes to Obamacare. The media, if you took us out of the equation, you wouldn't know about much of the problems with this sort of Rube Goldberg
stupid or complicit?
Well, combination of both. Okay. But Rube Goldberg, insane thing, which, by the way, Obamacare isn't a new thing. It's not socialized medicine. It's the same crappy system we have now that we had before. Put an explanation, put like a 2 on it on the top, you know, times a gazillion. I mean, it is the worst of what was the worst that we had before. The media never explained that. I mean, it's essentially socialized insurance.
Well, as Nancy Pelosi said, Harris, we just have to pass this thing so that everybody can find out what's in it.
Right.
You know, she didn't even think it was necessary for the American people to know it was in it before it was passed.
All right.
Do you think that this is about the administration thinking voters are stupid?
Well, I will say two things. I mean, I would think that the administration would now like to say that Mr. Gruber does not represent it. That's what they'd like to say. They'd also like to get their hands on all the past video clips that Mr. Gruber has been in.
Are there more?
Because you could probably set an egg timer for how long it takes to find the next one.
That's true.
I would encourage him to learn about technology that things replicate. So if there's one, there are probably a million copies of whatever. But with regard of what one side thinks of the other, I think we're getting a pretty good indication here. I mean, I don't think that he's mincing words. And I haven't heard, I haven't heard Democrats hold news conferences or come on record and say, he does not represent my point of view. We don't think that, I haven't heard any backlash on this. Like, where's the cry for civility and common sense saying, that's not how we as Democrats feel, as liberals feel. We love everybody. I'm not hearing that.
But didn't President Obama...
Why are we not hearing that?
Because Krauthammer is right. Progressives always They always assume that people cannot be trusted to their own devices, right? Yeah. They have to make decisions for the American people on how to spend their tax dollars because they know better. They can make healthcare decisions. Right. They can make energy decisions. They don't trust people because they do assume they are stupid. That is the basis of progressivism. The media doesn't cover it because they're in the same camp. They think people are stupid too. I always say Republicans pass laws and they hope people will understand. Progressives pass laws and they will hope people will never find out.
President Pelosi said that they'll never read it.
President Obama once said they cling to their guns and their religion. That's all that needs to be said. I mean, that's the ruling ethos of progressivism. I mean, it's what Saul Alinsky believes. It's what President Obama believes. It's at heart what Nancy Pelosi.
It's arrogant.
It's elitist, and they despise the middle class of America more than more than any
Very true.
Now,
fat
the flip
cat
side
Republican.
of this is that Mr. Gruber went rogue, and you know, the Democrats will be
Yes.
calling him later today, and he'll have to have yet another
Can
apology.
we nickname him
So we'll see
MacGruber?
that.
Yeah. I think so.
So we'll see.
Certainly sent a very clear message twice. We have some special programming for you tonight, part 2 of our exclusive interview with the Navy SEAL who killed Osama bin Laden. Here's Robert O'Neill on how he became the guy who made that shot.
So how is it that you ended up the number 2 man on the stairs to the 3rd floor?
Just luck. Just the way that it worked, the guys ahead of me, based on our tactics, we know that the guy in front stays in front and everyone behind him, when there's other stuff going on, they need to get to that, the threats, and take care of the threats, which would be other people, other rooms, other doors. More important than what's, we need to clear that level before we go up one more.
You can see the second and final installment tonight at 10 o'clock Eastern, right here on the Fox News channel. Well, a 1970s era terrorist and convicted murderer may be rehired to teach at one of our nation's universities. He served 6 years for his crimes, but should he be teaching our kids? And a concert honoring our nation's veterans marred by filthy onstage language. And one of our most famous rockers leading a rendition of an anti-war song. Does this show how out of touch our country's celebrities really are?